Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome. We'll give you guys a minute to get in here and join us live. Anybody that's on now. Otherwise, we are going to jump in. We're excited that today is our first PEPTalk podcast of the new year of 2026. So whenever you're watching this was our first one of the new year. So we're excited to be here. We're happy to have you here. And wherever you're joining us from, even if you're just watching the replay later, just comment and let us know that you watched. We love to see who's out there and what you guys are doing. So as you can see, today we're going to be talking about pause before action. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about that. Basically, as you guys know, if you're watching this now live or in the next couple of days, we are just coming out of a holiday. We're just coming back from Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, the holidays, right? And so, in fact, Barbara, you and I did I think our last podcast in 2025 was about pausing, taking time during the holidays to pause and not try to overwork yourself, not try to exhaust yourself. And so today we're talking about a pause again, but it's a different kind of pause. Okay. So the last pause was about rest, recovery, spending time focused on family and friends and doing things that you want to do. And now is today's pause is a little bit different. So our topic, or our title for today is Assess Before You Act, the first step out of overwhelm. Okay. So if you are new, you're just joining us for the first time, I am Andrea Anderson. I'm CEO of Productive Environment Institute here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina. And I'm joined by...
I'm Barbara Hemphill. I'm founder of Productive Environment Institute, and I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. And Andrea, I just want to say that today is, if you're listening live, today is Epiphany. So I've always loved the 12 days of Christmas, and always loved it because I often procrastinated about things I wanted to do at Christmas. And I said, okay, I still have 12 days to do it. And today is the 12th day.
Today's the 12th day. So the 12 days of Christmas, this is day 12.
This is day 12.
Okay, well, good. Well, this is the perfect time for our conversation then. So awesome. Well, I want to share briefly before we get into the topic. I want to just share with you, especially if you're new to us, we at PEI, we have a 9-step path that we lead our clients through. And we're actually going to share that path with you guys over the next year. We're going to share that. We're not going to go into detail and do all the teaching that we do in our SOAR program, but we're going to introduce you to the path. So I'm going to show it to you very quickly here. Let's see which one I want to show. This one. Okay. So this is a 9-step path from overwhelmed to optimized. So I'm sharing this, and you don't have to worry about what each step is. Just you can know that today and in the month of January, we're focusing on the assess step, the very first step. This is where we are right now. It says productive environment score, but it's actually a lot more than that. So that's all you need to be aware of. And I just want to show it to you because I want you to know that we have a method to our madness. Okay. We are not just like, hey, we organize everybody and anybody and everything and anything. That is not what we're about. We have a very systemized path that we follow and we lead, that Barbara actually has demonstrated that it works over 40. Oh gosh, Barbara, we're getting to the point where we're not going to say over 40 years. We're saying almost 50 years.
So it's like so hard to say that though. It's like, oh my gosh,
it's amazing.
It is. I'm a living example of this because, and just to put a little personal note in here, my brain doesn't always work right. And that's not just everybody says that, but it's been tested and there are some issues with it. And one of the issues is memory. So the whole reason that I created all the systems I created, which I started creating actually in childhood, because it was like how I needed to cope. So my first product in 1983 was the to-do book. And ironically, Andrea, in her genius, has created the SOAR board, which is the digital version of the to-do book. So everything we talk about here are something that I have lived with now for over 50 years, because some of it developed from childhood, and I work with my aunt and my mother and all that. So it's all about systems. So we're glad you're here. If you're struggling with memory or overwhelm, then you're in the right place.
That's exactly right. And what's interesting, Barbara said that I created the SOAR board. And SOAR, for those of you that don't know, it's SOAR, not SORE, SOAR board. And it's systemize and organize with action and reference. And it's the entire thing is based on Barbara's methodology, right? And I created it's an electronic tool, the SOAR board. And when I did it, I didn't do it intentionally. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to make a digital version of Barbara's to-do book. I didn't do that. I love the to-do book. Oh my gosh. I bought the to-do book when I first found out about you, Barbara, and this is 2026 now, but 2025. So it was 20 years ago, one of the first things I bought was the to-do book. It's about this big, and it had tabs in it. And like you put this in this category and this in this category. And I absolutely loved it. I carried it with me everywhere. So, and I still have a couple of them here, but when I was building the SOAR board, and it just evolved. I mean, our SOAR members and our specialists, they're like, oh my gosh, she's changing it again. Because I'm like, oh my God, this is a really new cool thing we can do. And so I'll add things to it. So it's still evolving. But once it was created and we started using it, we were actually, Barbara, remember you and I did that marathon podcast? I don't even know how many hours it ended up being, but we talked about it on there. And I think that's when I had the epiphany that, oh my gosh, the SOAR board is the to-do book. The concept of it. So that was really fun and exciting. But one of the thing we want to talk about today, as I said, our last podcast, we talked about pausing for the holidays. And I had such a nice time. And I know, Barbara, you went on vacation with your family. Like, I did what I wanted to do. I had time with friends and family. I had time to lay on the couch and watch Christmas movies because YouTube kept popping them up and I would just let it play. And so I watched all kinds of Christmas movies. I worked when I wanted to, and I planned. I did a lot of planning, which is one of my favorite things to do at the end of the year. So that to me was my pause. I stepped away from Zoom. I didn't do any meetings. Our team, amazing Eds and Juliana, stepped in and they continued to serve our clients while I was on pause, and like while Barbara was on pause. So the holiday pause in our mind is stepping away from work, stepping away from required work. I still worked because I did things I wanted to do. I was planning and creating for the new year. Today's pause is about pausing to assess, okay, to engage with reality before acting, okay? So assessment isn't time off. It's how we decide what actually deserves our energy. So, why people feel overwhelmed coming back from the holidays, if you think about that. And I don't know your lifestyle, those of you listening, if you've got children and you've got family members and you were traveling, maybe that didn't feel like much of a pause for you. And you kick off January and thinking, oh my God, I gotta, hit the ground running now. I gotta hit the ground running. I'm going to organize everything. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to do all these things. And so we want to talk about the fact that it's important to pause before we do all those things, because we can jump in and start buying organizing tools. We can start like, oh, I'm going to do all these things. And then we can wear ourselves out and overwhelm us. So Barbara, you actually came up with years ago, we're just going to talk briefly about it. We're not even going to go into the details about it, but you created a scorecard, what we call our productive environment scorecard. So before we even start working with a client or somebody says, oh, I need your support. You said, you don't just jump in and say, well, tell me your problem. Oh yeah, here's how you fix it. Here's what you need to do. Here are the steps. You say, let me see. You do an assessment, right? Do you want to talk about that? Like, was there a moment or a time where that changed, where you did just jump in and help? And then you stopped and said,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the beginning, it was like, because there wasn't any models. Nobody else was doing it. We just had to figure it out. Mm-hmm. But as I worked, it was like, well, this is a huge undertaking. I mean, what does organize mean? I mean, somebody says, I want to get
Right.
organized. What does that mean? And so it's like, we need to figure it out. And then the other thing was, there's so many ways that we can help people get organized. We need to prioritize.
Yeah.
So to your point about today being assessed, that's what the scorecard was, a way to assess. And at this point, we've looked at thousands of these, and we could look at one in a few seconds and know very quickly how to help people get started, where they need to get started. Because a lot of people, for those of you listening, please, if you are considering hiring someone to help you, please hire sooner rather than later. I cannot tell you the hours, hundreds of hours, and thousands of dollars that clients have wasted by doing things that should never have been done, or were done in the wrong way. So it's really important. I love this word, assess. Another word that I like a lot is the word notice. Because there's so many things that we do without noticing. They're just habitual. And then you begin to notice, for example, that the same thing is happening over and over. Like, you're always not able to find your keys, or you're always late. You're always panicked before tax time. Well, here we are in January. There is no reason you need to be taxed. You need to be frustrated for tax time. It's not till April. And our system is something that can help you figure that out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So before you jump in and start making new lists, because we love lists, and buying new tools and decluttering randomly, like, let me start here, let me jump over there, or quote, trying to catch up. I need to catch up after the holidays. That actually backfires on us, because there's no real starting point. You don't have an understanding of what actually exists, where to start. That's one of the biggest things we get from people, is like, I don't know where to start. And that's understandable. Decisions are made on assumption, not reality. So, something to keep in mind is busy is often a sign that we skipped assessment. Because if we are bouncing all over the place and trying different things and doing different things, that means we skipped the assessment part. We didn't say, okay, let's start here. And I'll give you an example. The three main areas that we help clients with, as far as organization and productivity, are paper, your physical surroundings with regards to paper, email, and I'm separating email away from digital information because it really is its own standalone. So paper, email, and digital information. Those are our main areas. And we have people that come in and say, oh, I got to get my email in order. Oh, but my paper's a mess. Oh, but I don't even know where things are on my computer. And so we pause and do an assessment to figure out, and maybe even have a conversation and say, okay, and figure out where to start. Because if you try to start all three at the same time, you're going to get overwhelmed. So assessing really means observing without fixing. So you may want to jump in and start doing the work first, but let's observe first. Let's observe without fixing. Okay. Naming what's there, and getting an honest snapshot of reality, and asking what is actually true right now. An example of that for email, when we start talking about digital organization, specifically with email, the first questions we ask are, okay, how many email accounts do you have? And how many emails do you have in your inbox, or multiple inboxes? And we start getting to the truth on that. Thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's across the board. And there's no judgment there. It's just a lack of a system. It's a lack of taking the time to assess and then create a plan. Were you going to say something, Barbara?
Well, one of the values that we've talked about in PEI from the beginning is progress starts with the truth.
Yep.
And so that's where we're doing what this assess is about, is dealing with the truth. And the reality is that a lot of people, facing the truth can be emotional. And when those emotions come up, then people withdraw. It's like, oh, I can't deal with that. And then they never, ever win. And that can go on for decades, literally decades. So it's the time is to assess it and then figure out a plan so that you can move forward.
That's exactly right. And that's really the key to what we do. That's what we teach. We have a 5-step productive environment process where we find out what you want. We find out what's been getting in your way to get it. We find out what resources you have, and then we help you create. And here's the key word, guys: execute your plan and then sustain your success. Okay. That is literally the core of what we do. And it is very difficult to do it on your own, especially when you're overloaded with clutter, whether it's paper or digital or mental or emotional. And most people have a little bit of everything. So we help you kind of clear the clutter, clear the cobwebs out of the way to help you figure out what to do next. Go ahead.
Well, I think one of the other things is that I think it is impossible for most people to do it alone. That does not mean you have to hire somebody, because the reality is all of us have people in our lives who would be more than happy to help if we just ask. But we have this, and I am preaching to the choir, because one of my big things in life is I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to bother anybody. And so lots of times I do things that I'm really not good at doing and shouldn't be doing because I don't want to be a bother. So one of the things we try to encourage people to do is to think about, by identifying what it is that you need to deal with, then you can figure out who it is that can help you. And interestingly enough, what I've seen through the years is that a professional can come in and help you get started on the right track, and then help you find the people to do all the rest of it. Because one of the things that I did early on in the industry before anybody else was doing it was package pricing. And the reason I did package pricing was because there's different skill levels involved. And if you hire one organizer to do one thing, they're going to do all those skill levels, which means that they are being underpaid for some of what they're doing, and they're being overpaid for other things they want to do. So part of what we do is break that down so that you're getting what you need.
Right, exactly. So, so assess, let me just clear this up. Assessing does not mean organizing. It does not mean decluttering. It doesn't mean choosing tools. We're going to get to that. Okay. It does not mean making commitments, and it doesn't even mean solving problems. Okay. It's not judgment. It's information. Okay. The assess period is information. It's our scorecard that's giving us information. It's a conversation. We actually have something called a productive environment game plan, where we talk to you, and that is information. We have other diagnostic tools. And let's think about that. Another key to remember is you can't make good decisions without good information. So let's put this in perspective. When you go to your doctor, you don't just go into your doctor and say, my head hurts or my arm hurts, fix it. And then the doctor immediately prescribes or immediately schedules surgery or whatever. No, they're going to do a diagnostic process. They're going to weigh you in. They're going to take your blood pressure, right? No matter what you go for, they're going to probably do those two things, no matter where you are, what you're going in for. And then they're going to ask you questions. They're going to listen to your heart. That's all assess. They're assessing your current situation. Same thing with working out. It's the beginning of the year and everybody's wanting to lose weight and get in shape and start exercising. You don't go in and just immediately start or get up the next morning and start running. You assess. Okay, where what do you want to accomplish? What do you have? What's getting in the way, and what resources do you have? And then you create and execute a plan. So all of that is assessing before just jumping in. So I want to give some perspective on what we're talking about applies across other things as well, other areas as well. Okay. So why must assess come first? Why? As Barbara said earlier, progress starts with the truth. That is us getting to the truth. Okay. So as I just gave the example of going to the doctor, same thing happens with finances. You check your balances before you start budgeting. You see where you are for the month or the quarter, health, labs, vitals before creating a plan. and so forth. And we do the same thing. We do the same thing with paper, email, digital information, understanding the volume of what you have before we start making recommendations. And it's hard for people like us. We want to help people. And Barbara, I know this happens to you too. When people start telling you what their problem is and how much they're overwhelmed, we know immediately we can think of 10 things to tell them to do. Like, oh, you just need to do this, this, this. But we have to stop ourselves because everybody's different. What works for one may not work for another. The style, the communication style is different. And so that's why we do stop and assess. That's why that scorecard is critical. In whatever realm you're doing, think of going to the doctor, all the weight and the blood pressure, that's their scorecard. Okay.
You mentioned health. One thing you didn't mention, I noticed, I saw that either number 1 or number 2 thing on the New Year's resolutions this year was fitness.
Always.
And fitness is a perfect example. I mean, if you don't have a plan, if you don't assess first, what is the ultimate goal? You know, is your goal to be a bodybuilder, or, you know, or you just want to not die of a heart attack when you're 50? So whatever it is. So that's such an easy one to see a connection with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then that's good. Making that assessment is going to help you decide who to work with. Are you going to hire a trainer? Are you going to take classes? How are you going to do that? So in fact, I will tell you this, I'm going to give a shout out for DFIT real quick, dfittransformation.com. There is an assessment on that website, on Demetrius's website, dfittransformation.com. And I would not work with a trainer or work with a nutritionist or work with anybody in fitness if they did not first assess my lifestyle, my past, my history with dieting, my history with working out, all of those things. So if you guys are planning to do that at the new year, make sure the person you're working with assesses you. Don't just say, oh yeah, you need 1,200 calories a day and work out 5 days a week or 3 days a week, whatever it is. Get an assessment, and you can take the DFIT transformation assessment right there on the website. So that's a perfect example. Then they know, the expert knows, same as with us, we can look at that and say, oh, okay, I see how this person is, and these are the things that then I want to have a conversation and move forward. So anyway, assessment prevents wasted effort, because you could jump into a new program because you're excited at the beginning of the year, whether it's organizing or fitness, but then it isn't a fit for you because you skipped the assessment part. So, and then you've wasted your effort. Okay. So assessing protects your energy. Again, you're not wasting time and money and energy on something that isn't going to be a fit for you. And it reduces overwhelm later. Okay. So assessment saves time because it prevents the wrong action. Okay. Assessment saves time because it prevents the wrong action. There is no one size fits all. Everybody's different. And so we need to find out how you operate. Okay. So we want to give you what we're calling gentle homework. No, really a gentle invitation. It's not really homework. Let's not call it homework. But what can you do this week? We are going to be talking about a different layer of assessments on our next podcast as well. So these episodes are going to build on each other. So what you can do this week as you're moving through the week, as Barbara said earlier, notice where you feel an urgency to do something. Do you have anxiety about, oh, I haven't started working out yet, or I haven't started meal planning yet, or I haven't started decluttering my email yet, or I haven't started. If you feel any of that anxiety or panic about what you need to do, or a project that you've paused during the holidays and it's time to pick it back up, notice that. Okay. Just notice it. You don't need to do anything. We're not giving you any tasks to do. Just notice it. Okay. And then, so pause and ask, what do I actually know about this? Okay. What do I actually know about this? Maybe there's a deadline related to it. Maybe there are a couple of resources you've gathered related to it. Maybe you've determined that you don't actually need to do it anymore. Maybe if it was a project that has been paused and now you're like, I don't know, I don't need to do that. And then you can ask yourself, what am I assuming? Here's a big one, Barbara. People assume, oh, it's going to take too long. Right? Oh, I'm not even going to start because it's going to take too long. Or it's going to take too long and I need 100% focus. So I'm going to wait until I don't have anything else going on in my life to tackle it. And then they post, what do we know about postponed decisions? Clutter is postponed decisions. So what am I assuming? Am I assuming it's going to take too long? Am I assuming it's going to cost too much? Am I assuming I can't do it? Am I assuming I've tried before and failed? Something's wrong with me. Okay, so what are you assuming? And then ask, what's missing that I need to see first? And so that's where you start thinking about, what information do I need to gather, or what information will help me make a decision? So that's still all assessing. That's all in the assessment mode. So I'm just going to give you a break this month. I mean, January, you don't have to hit the ground running. Stop, notice, assess. Okay. And it's already the 6th. So you might be thinking, oh, it's already the 6th of January and I wasted 6 days and I didn't do what I was going to. It's okay. It's okay. Just take a breath, pause, and think through it. I think another example of that is taking inventory. If, let's say it's a specific project with PEI, when we start working with someone who does have a paper challenge, maybe they're a writer and they've got bukus of articles and they've got paper piled around their desk. If that's you guys listening, let us know. You've got papers on your desk, behind you on the floor, because it's just easier just to drop it behind you, or on the credenza behind you, or over on the dining room table. If you've got, paper everywhere, and you decide that you want our help to organize it so that you can find anything that you file in seconds, one of the very first things we do, we have multiple diagnostic tools that we put in place in the beginning. And one of them is we take inventory. It's like, okay, what do you have? Do you have an in, out, into file tray system? Do you have a calendar? Do you have your trash can, recycle bin, or shredder near your desk? So those are questions we're asking. Do you already have file folders, or are we going to need to get some? That's all part of assessing, taking that inventory. Okay, so be thinking about that. Keep it light, no fixing, no organizing, just noticing. Now, if you're listening and you've been part of our program or our team, and we've been through the assessment and you know what to do, you know what to work on, it's okay for you to do those things. It's okay for you to continue organizing and move forward. But I still do caution you. I want you to still pause and say, okay, here's what I accomplished last year. This is what I want to focus on at least the first quarter of this year. Okay. And assess where you are with that. So next week, we are going to talk about a quote that Barbara says quite often, which is, you can't change what you don't measure. And we're going to talk about why you can't change what you don't measure. Okay. So why can't you change what you don't measure? We're going to dig into that a little bit on the next podcast. Okay. So as we wrap up, just some thoughts that you can take with you. Assessment is not slowing down progress, because you might be thinking, well, if I just assess all month, I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting anything done. That's not true. That is not true. It's truly how progress becomes sustainable. Barbara, you've always said step 5 of our productive environment process is sustain your success. And that is the hardest.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? When you start a workout program or you do anything and you do great with it, you're successful, but then you let it go. That's not sustaining your success. So,
and the key I want to throw in at the end, the key to sustaining your success, and this is true with exercise or with organizing, is what will you do? Mm-hmm. And there's always a way. So I'm spending I'm in this, and it's reassess as well. Okay. So every year I reassess, and I'm working with my virtual assistant today, downloading a list of all the things on my to-do list.
Excellent. Wonderful. And here's a quick tip if you haven't already thought of it or done it. Barbara, take that download of all the to-dos, put it into ChatGPT and say, help me prioritize. And ChatGPT will. It'll be like, and you'll see. Now it may get it wrong because it doesn't really know your life, but it's very interesting to see what it pulls out. And it's pretty spot on when it does. All right. So just the last couple thoughts to leave you with is if you're feeling behind already, you're not. Okay. You're not behind. You're at the starting point. All right. So we do want to invite you back. We meet live every Tuesday at noon Eastern. But of course, if that doesn't work for your schedule, you can come back and watch the replay a little bit later on. If you're not part of our community yet, we invite you to lesscluttermorelife.com. There's a short training there, and that will get you into our world. So watch that training. You can, you'll learn about our philosophy and our methodology, and then you will be part of our community. So we invite you there if you're new, lesscluttermorelife.com. And we invite you back next week for the second part of our assess theme, why you can't change what you don't measure. Barbara, any closing words or are you finished?
Just a happy new year to everyone, and ask yourself the question, what's one thing that has to be accomplished this year for me to be happy with my progress? And do some pondering on that as you learn about how we tackle those challenges.
Love it. Awesome. All right, guys, have a great week and we'll see you on the next one.